Let's all eat together with the new family.
Blatantly, the Williams family chomps down on delicious-looking sushi. Yet, in front of me alone, for some reason, there's the familiar cup noodles. Rachel, sitting opposite me, is silently looking down. Sam's mom leans over to look at her face.
Oh, Rachel, what's wrong? Don't worry about it. Let's eat. From now on, we'll be your family instead of your mom.
Rachel gives Sam's mom a cold look and, ignoring her words, walks briskly to sit next to me and says in a passing tone,
Let's go home.
I nod in agreement too.
Yay.
As the two of us head for the entrance, a flustered Sam stands in front of us.
Rachel, what are you doing?
What do you mean? I think we should go home, so we don't waste any more time.
What? Do you even understand what you're saying?
Sam raises his voice in frustration and grabs Rachel's arm. Rachel shook off his hand and shouted loudly.
Do you even realize who you're doing this to and what you're doing?
Then, Rachel and I confronted the Williams family with a certain truth. I am Nancy White, 50 years old. Since losing my husband to illness 18 years ago, I've raised my daughter Rachel on my own. When my husband passed away, Rachel was only 7 years old. Wanting her to not face hardships in the future just because she had one parent. I wanted to at least have financial comfort, and to fulfill my husband's dream. With the determination that everything would work out, I worked relentlessly, relying on parents and after-school programs. During such a life, I made Rachel feel very lonely.
Why can't mom wait at home for me? All the other moms are there to say welcome home.
Rachel said one summer when she was in 2nd grade. Her lower lip quivering and tears in her eyes. It felt like a punch to the head. Being too desperate with work every day, I was nearly losing sight of what was important. Rachel was the most important to me, yet I let her have such a sad look.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Rachel.
After that, I gradually started to cut back on work as much as I could. Still, I think we had less relaxed time together compared to families where both parents were present. Even when I came home early, there were times I had to work from home.
I'm sorry, Rachel.
After finishing overtime and returning home, I'd rush through dinner and bath time. I'd hurry Rachel to bed, and only when I finally took a breath, what caught my eye was her peacefully sleeping face. Looking at it, I felt an indescribable guilt. She was still in elementary school and couldn't fully enjoy her childhood. But if I didn't work, we couldn't live. If I fell ill, this house would be done for. Every day was a struggle. However, thanks to all the effort. By the time Rachel graduated middle school, my job stabilized, and we started to have some financial breathing room. When Rachel became a high school student, she was completely independent and started to worry about my health, saying, "Mom, aren't you working too much?" Seeing Rachel, who seemed more mature than her actual age, I felt proud yet somewhat guilty. From then on, without my worries as a parent, Rachel continued to grow and walk her own path. And this year, Rachel turned 25. She had completely adjusted to her job and was used to living alone. At this rate, her marriage might just be around the corner. I couldn't help but get teary-eyed imagining Rachel in a wedding dress. However, I hadn't heard any such news from Rachel so far. Probably, marriage talks might still be a while away. Just as I thought this, I got a call from Rachel. It started with casual chit-chat, but suddenly Rachel went silent and then shyly started.
Actually, there's someone I'm thinking of marrying.
The surprise almost made me scream. The unexpected romantic news from Rachel genuinely delighted me.
Hey, what's he like?
Honestly, I wanted to bombard her with questions. But I managed to control my curiosity and asked for details. Rachel thought for a while, and after a brief silence, she answered.
He's a senior at my current job. He's competent. He confessed to me, and we've been dating for a while now.
That's wonderful. He sounds like a great guy.
I might be a doting parent, but I believe Rachel has grown up to be a smart and kind person. I often hear from acquaintances that her reputation at work is very good.
There are many clients who request to have Rachel as their point of contact. They say she's meticulous and reliable.
Knowing that Rachel is sincerely dedicated to her job made me proud as a mother.
There's a lot I can learn from him at work.
Is that so?
Rachel's voice was lively as she talked about him. I wonder what kind of person the man Rachel has chosen is. I want to know more about him. After all, this is the first boyfriend Rachel has ever told me about. I was very curious about him, but I didn't want to put any strange pressure on her, so I refrained from asking too many questions. I thought that Rachel would bring it up if there was any news. So I just watched and waited. Then, a few weeks after the initial contact, Rachel reached out again.
Sorry for the sudden call. Hey, I want you to meet him sometime.
It was an invitation much sooner than I expected. I was a bit surprised, but also delighted.
Wow, I'm so happy. Just let me know when. I'll make time. I'm looking forward to it. But despite my excitement over the phone.
Rachel's reaction seemed complicated for some reason. When I asked what was wrong, Rachel hesitantly answered.
Just don't get your hopes up too much. I mean, I hope you won't be disappointed.
It was an unexpected response.
What? That's not like me. I'm not overprotective. And I don't have high standards. Above all, I trust your choice.
Yay, thank you.
The always frustrating thing about phone calls is not being able to see the other person's face. What expression Rachel is making right now? I can't tell. Usually, she's so positive, so why would Rachel have such a pessimistic preamble about introducing him to me? It's not like her. I was concerned, but it might just be nerves. I convinced myself of this and eagerly anticipated the day I would meet Rachel and him. Then came the day of the meeting.
I'm nervous. Does my outfit look strange?
You're fine. It suits you well. Besides, I'm the one who's more nervous.
Laughing together, we headed to a well-known bistro in the area. A place often used for business meetings. Originally, we planned for a weekend to have a leisurely chat. But he was busy on weekends, so we ended up meeting after work. We had arrived a little earlier, and soon after, Rachel's boyfriend showed up.
Nice to meet you. I'm Sam Williams.
Nice to meet you. I'm Rachel's mom. I'm glad we could meet.
As I bowed my head, Sam greeted me with a smile. His tall, slender figure suited the sharp suit perfectly. His hairstyle was modern and trendy. His friendly demeanor when he spoke was exactly that of a promising young salesman. If Rachel has chosen him, I have no place to interfere. Still, given what had been said beforehand, I braced myself for who might come, and I was somewhat taken aback by his pleasant demeanor. He's a very nice guy indeed. What was Rachel worried about?
We've only been dating for a short time, but I'm thinking of marrying Rachel eventually.
And meeting you today, her mother, has been truly wonderful, he said.
I'm glad you reached out too.
It's reassuring to hear as a mother that he's considering marriage. Not just dating. He's serious, reliable, and interesting to talk to. With such a good impression, I wonder what Rachel was worried about. He really is a very fine young man. With these thoughts, we continued our pleasant conversation. As the drinks flowed and the conversation picked up, the atmosphere began to subtly shift. Sam's face turned red, and he was clearly in high spirits.
Man, when I first heard she was from a single-parent home,
I honestly thought, oh no. But having you as my mother-in-law, that's a relief.
Oh, is it so?
I almost dropped my glass. Even with alcohol, I didn't expect such candidness on a first meeting. I think my face must have looked tense.
Hey, Sam.
Rachel hurriedly placed her hand on Sam's shoulder. He shrugged her hand off his shoulder.
come on, I'm giving a compliment here, Rachel. You're always sweating the small stuff.
It's not Rachel who's being overly meticulous. I thought to myself. Rachel sighed and held her head.
No, it's okay.
I would be lying if I said I didn't care. I have faced prejudice for being a single parent numerous times before. It's something you never get used to. It always hits hard. In the slightly tense atmosphere, only Sam seemed to be enjoying his drink happily. It was the first time I felt something off about Sam. At first, I thought he was such a nice young man with no complaints. But as the drinks flowed, his words became more and more loose. There were moments when I just wanted to shake my head in disbelief.
Rachel is too good at her job, you know. She's well regarded at work, but as her boyfriend, it makes me feel a bit overshadowed.
Sam said, resting his chin on his hand. Seemingly oblivious to my confusion. He might not even care.
But Rachel is working hard too, right?
As I tried to interject with some irritation, Sam waved his hands dismissively.
You don't get it.
Nancy, Rachel is trying too hard, and you know, women should have a bit of vulnerability, right? It's endearing. Way back in the day, wasn't it like that in your era? It feels like I'm being treated as an old lady. It's not wrong, but it doesn't feel good. Rachel tries to glare at him to stop, but Sam just finishes his drink and looks quite pleased with himself.
Is that so? Well, times have changed. And as you say, it's different from our era.
Well, your era was decades ago, right? But even now in this era, women should support their men, right?
Towards the end, I could only respond with a wry smile, utterly exasperated. After returning home, Rachel called to apologize.
I'm really sorry, Mom.
It's okay. I was happy to meet him.
That was the truth. I was genuinely happy to meet Rachel's partner. But I find it hard to wholeheartedly support them. Thinking of him spending his life with Rachel, I find it hard to bless their union. Perhaps sensing my feelings, Rachel made excuses for him.
Sam has been having a tough time at work recently. He's usually much calmer.
I see, he's tired then. It can't be helped.
I'm sorry.
If what shows when he drinks is his true nature, what should I do? They said they were dating with marriage in mind. But is Sam really the right partner for Rachel? A sense of unease spread through my chest, but I couldn't bring myself to say it to Rachel directly. It lacks a bit of delicacy, but there's too little to criticize him on.
I guess all I can do is watch a little longer.
Muttering to myself, I let out a sigh. I had planned to just watch how things unfolded. Yet, just a few weeks after that meeting, Rachel dropped a surprising piece of news.
Actually, Sam proposed to me yesterday, and he wants you to come with me to his parents' house soon.
You mean to get married?
Is Sam really the right one? I almost blurted out, but I carefully chose my words.
So Rachel wants to marry Sam.
If Rachel herself wants this, maybe it's inevitable. But as a parent, can I send my daughter off with these doubts? I find myself wanting to intervene. When I asked, with my heart pounding, there was silence for a few seconds before Rachel replied in a small voice.
The thing is, there's something I haven't been able to tell you, Mom, something that's been bothering me lately.
What?
Upon hearing a certain truth from Rachel, I decided to act immediately. It's for my daughter's sake. This is no time for hesitation. A few days later, Rachel and I were visiting Sam's parents' home.
It's so great you could come.
Sam had come to pick us up on foot from the nearest train station to his parents' home. Rachel, Sam, and I walked towards his parents' house.
Both my parents are really enthusiastic about the marriage. They've been eager for it to happen.
My mom has thought of Rachel like her own daughter even before meeting her. Rachel had said, marriage is still on hold, yet Sam and his parents seemed quite ready for it.
Indeed, I'm looking forward to meeting them.
I said, emptying my mind and smiling as I imagined the upcoming events. After about 10 minutes of walking, we arrived at Sam's parents' home. As he had said, his parents greeted us with smiles.
Oh my, what a lovely girl, you must be Rachel.
Nice to meet you.
Rachel responded calmly with a smile, but I was shocked from the start. To address her by her first name right away, especially in front of me, her mother. As I stared silently, Sam's mom noticed me and gave a forced smile.
You must be Rachel's mom, right? Oh, sorry if that was presumptuous. It's just that Sam calls her that.
No, it's fine.
As Rachel and I stood there awkwardly, Sam's dad chimed in.
Well, she's going to be our daughter soon anyway.
The way we call her doesn't really matter, right? Now come on, Rachel, come inside, hurry up.
Yes, thank you. We're coming in.
Rachel's father-in-law works at the same company as Sam and Rachel. But they are in different departments, so today is the first time they are meeting. A couple, and they're using first names at the first meeting. What kind of people are they? As I stood there stunned, Sam said to me with a puzzled look.
What's the matter? Come on, mother-in-law, please come in. Our house is quite nice around here. No need to be so reserved, okay?
Perhaps he thought I was overwhelmed. No. I'm just surprised by your unique parents. I never imagined they would address my daughter, who hasn't even married into the family yet, by her first name.
Right, thank you. I'll come in.
With a simmering feeling inside, I quietly entered the house. True to their boastful nature, the house was very spacious and beautiful.
This is quite different from Rachel's family home, so it might feel unsettling at first, but you'll get used to it.
Sam's mom said, glancing at me and putting her arm around Rachel's shoulder. Because we're a single mother household, do you think we live in a rundown home?
With such a big house.
Cleaning must be tough. But Rachel can handle it. Right, you've been doing chores since you were little, haven't you? That's normal for single-parent families, isn't it? Poor thing. I nearly interjected, but I restrained myself. Rachel started to say something but was cut off as Sam's mom hurried her along into the living room.
Are you hungry? Have a seat.
On the living room table, there were buckets of sushi placed at each seat.
I ordered some deluxe sushi from a well-known shop nearby because Rachel was coming. It's a special day today.
Indeed, the sushi looked quite expensive. As we were shown to our seats, Rachel and I immediately noticed something amiss.
Is this?
As I pointed at what was prepared at my seat, the Williams family all smirked in unison.
There are all kinds of people in the world.
You know, you've heard it, right? Living in different worlds. Today, we wanted you and Rachel to understand that. Sam's mom exclaimed with glee. Beside her, the father, as well as Sam next to Rachel, watched the scene with amusement. Their intentions were too clear, and I scoffed inwardly.
I see, so that's why everyone else has deluxe sushi. And there's a cup of ramen in front of me.
At my words, Sam clapped his hands enthusiastically.
Exactly, you're quick to catch on. Yes, that's right.
The cup noodles represent what Rachel and you have been up to now. And the deluxe sushi is us, and Rachel's future with us. Makes sense, doesn't it? Rachel remained silent, her head bowed. I also kept my mouth shut, staring fixedly at the Williams family. Thinking she had won, Sam's mom boisterously exclaimed.
Let's all eat together with the new family.
Ostentatiously, the Williams family started eating the delicious-looking sushi. When they noticed I was frozen, she exclaimed with feigned surprise.
Oh, the water for your noodles has just been added, so it will be ready in about 3 minutes.
You're used to eating this, right? Sorry, but we'll start without you. Come on, Rachel, eat, eat. Saying this, Sam's mom leaned in to look at Rachel's face. At that moment, Rachel slowly stood up. Sam's mom looked at her with puzzled eyes.
Oh, Rachel, what's wrong? Don't worry about it. Let's eat. From now on, instead of your mom, we're your family.
Rachel gave Sam's mom a cold look and, ignoring her words, walked briskly to sit next to me and said in a passing tone.
Let's go home.
I nodded firmly in agreement.
Yay.
As the two of us headed for the entrance, a flustered Sam stood in front of us.
Rachel, what are you doing?
What do you mean? I think we should go home, so we don't waste any more time.
What? Do you even understand what you're saying?
Sam raised his voice in irritation and grabbed Rachel's arm. Rachel shook off his hand and shouted loudly.
Do you even realize who you're doing this to and what you're doing?
Sam looked stunned for a moment, then scoffed.
Are you going to complain about being disrespectful again? It can't be helped. This is like a ritual for your sake.
What?
Rachel glared at him, and Sam shrugged his shoulders.
You always talk proudly about your mom.
Mom, but in the end, she's just a poor single mother, right? And a widow who hasn't remarried even after so many years. We're inviting you from that pitiful world to our affluent one, and you're still not satisfied. A widow unable to remarry. Some people really think that way. Certainly, being a single parent, I've often been shunned or looked down upon. Thankfully, there have been those who showed interest in me. But since my husband passed away, Rachel has been my top priority. There are many benefits to remarrying, but not without its drawbacks. After much consideration, I decided not to remarry until Rachel was married herself. Rachel knows this. Rachel, still staring at Sam, let out a heavy sigh.
I thought you were competent at your job. but in your personal life, you're such a mess.
What did you say?
Sam's face turned red with anger, and Rachel furrowed her brows at him.
Are you the type to separate work from personal life?
You might want to think about that because you never know where work and personal life intersect.
Are you threatening me? What does an old lady like you have to do with my job?
Rachel looked at me and nodded solemnly. No need to stay silent anymore. I turned to face Sam, cleared my throat once, and smiled sweetly.
Though it's our first meeting, actually, your company and my company have deep connections.
What? My company? What?
Sam's face, which had been red just moments before, quickly turned pale.
What do you mean about the company?
Rachel is cautious, so she didn't tell you. Actually, your company is a subsidiary of our company.
When I say our company, I mean the one my late husband founded. He had been interested in the apparel industry and had been planning from his student days to start his own business. The company was doing fairly well, but my husband passed away mid-dream and I took over. I don't have the same sense as my husband. Initially, it was quite a struggle. But I wanted to continue what my husband had left, to connect it to the future. I thought if the company stabilized, it would be financially secure. Working while raising young Rachel was tough, but with help from others, we managed to keep improving performance. Things have been going exceptionally well lately.
That is nonsense. Rachel never mentioned any of this.
Sam looked at Rachel nervously, but she, without meeting his eyes, retorted.
I don't like to leverage my mother's influence for special treatment.
Only a few people in our company know this, like President Smith.
The president knows.
Rachel nodded, then gave me a knowing look.
By the way, President Smith has been a fan of my mom for a long time. Because of me, he never really made a move.
Hey, don't say unnecessary things.
In fact, unknown to Rachel, after my husband passed away, Smith had confessed his feelings to me several times. I turned him down because I wasn't ready until Rachel was grown up. I thought it might make things awkward personally, but Smith continued to interact normally, so we've maintained a good friendship. Sam was opening and closing his mouth in shock, looking from side to side.
Wait, your mom is the president of our parent company, and the president is a fan. What?
There won't be a marriage between you and Rachel, so could you stop calling me mother-in-law?
Sam seemed completely bewildered. But the story doesn't end there. I was about to leave due to the treatment I received, but there was something else I wanted to ask him. I came here today specifically to ask this.
Sam, I hear you have a good reputation at work, but it seems you've been using that to do whatever you want, haven't you?
What?
Sam turned pale and flinched. He must have known what I was talking about. His eyes swam uncertainly.
I heard you've been indiscriminately approaching the temps. Right, surely, many would happily accept your invitations.
How did you?
Sam's eyes widened in shock. He glanced momentarily at his parents, then shook his head at me.
No, that's not it. It's a misunderstanding. I did approach them, but it was to improve the atmosphere at work.
His flustered demeanor was clearly suspicious. It's surprising how well he could lie. If he's been approaching people like this, anyone would be suspicious of him. But I could have been fooled by Sam at our first meeting if he hadn't shown his true colors. If he had kept up his masked demeanor, it's no wonder the temps fell for it. He's still frantically making excuses.
Rachel told me you made the same excuses to her. Rachel is honest and serious, so she actually believed you.
Although she trusted you, the thought of marriage made her anxious again, and that's when she came to me for advice.
After hearing everything from Rachel, I got really worried.
So, I accepted your proposal, then hired a detective agency to investigate you.
That's an invasion of privacy.
Sam was completely distraught. Even this reaction should be telling, but the findings were damning. Sam had been involved physically with several girls.
Some were even hinted at contract extensions by you, even though you have no such authority. They were all deceived, poor things.
Sam was looking down, trembling, but suddenly he looked up and shouted.
So what? That alone motivates them at work. I'm not wrong. In fact, I'm doing something beneficial for the company.
He showed no remorse and instead became defensive. Brazenness in such situations is appalling. How many temp workers have been manipulated by this man?
Temp workers are essentially employees entrusted to us by their agencies.
You seem quick to look down on them, but they are not people who deserve that treatment.
Huh, that's just a nice sentiment.
Temps are just a group of people who couldn't become permanent staff. Basically, they're a collection of lower-grade individuals. We permanent employees are naturally superior. This man is beyond help. Sam's parents nodding affirmatively behind him was perplexing to me. He must have been raised with this kind of elitist mindset from a young age. Comparing others to themselves and feeling superior while looking down on everyone else. It seems pointless to argue with such people.
It seems it will take a while for you to understand, but perhaps you'll get it quickly once you find yourself in their shoes.
What?
Oh, since you'll be unemployed, by your standards, that would make you less than a temp worker, right? The lowest of the low.
Sam shook his head frantically and looked at me with desperate eyes.
I don't understand what you mean.
Do you think the company will continue to employ you after it's come to light how much you've taken advantage of the temp staff?
You're fired. Even President Smith is furious.
No way, wait, it can't be true.
Sam tried to grab my arm, but Rachel chopped it down.
Don't touch my mom with your filthy hands. Different worlds. Good.
I'm glad we're not in the same world as the likes of you, the very worst.
No, wait, Rachel.
Sam approached with tears in his eyes, but Rachel didn't even look at him.
I once thought you were a wonderful person. I was deceived by that, but now I feel nothing for you.
Let's go, Rachel said, pulling my hand, but Sam's parents stood in our way, trying to stop us.
Wait, Rachel, Sam will change. He will be reborn.
That's right. He did something stupid, but he's going to be successful in the future.
It's a waste to abandon him now, you'll regret it later. The desperation was apparent in his parents' faces. That's because the Williams family's finances depended on Sam and his father. If Sam lost his job, their income would plummet. No more sushi or anything like that. And there was another reason for Sam's father's desperation. I stood before his parents and told Sam's father.
Did you think you hadn't been found out?
What are you talking about?
You're not the only fool here, right? It runs in the family, doesn't it?
Sam's father was visibly sweating.
Please, don't tell the president about me.
I already know everything.
You and your son better start job hunting, but in this industry, reemployment might be tough since rumors spread fast. I wonder if hanging their heads in shame is also hereditary. Sam and his father were both kneeling, heads bowed in despair. As I was leaving the room, I looked back and from a distance, their resemblance was striking. Later on, the Williams family, both father and son, were fired together. Not just for the temp staff issue, but apparently, they had been involved in various other deceptions. Despite their high salaries, they quickly found themselves unemployed and their standard of living plummeted. They had to sell their house and now live in a much older apartment, all three together. Looks like sushi is off the menu for a while. Interestingly, both father and son had reputations as competent workers, so the company was in uproar. I have no interest in the future of the Williams family. My only concern is whether Rachel has been affected by this ordeal. But it seems there's no need to worry.
I need to gain more experience. I was deceived because I'm inexperienced, she said.
She's actively meeting new people through work colleagues and friends' introductions. I'm proud of her positivity. That's my Rachel. As for me, this situation made Rachel tell me it's time to let go.
I know I messed up this time, but Mom, if there's someone you want to marry, I want you to go for it.
I'm already 25, so you don't need to hesitate or worry on my behalf. She seems to hold on to Sam's comment about me being an unmarried widow. While I don't have a strong desire to remarry, I do think it would be nice to spend my remaining years with someone. Encouraged by Rachel, I think I'll accept the next dinner invitation from him without making excuses. After decades of knowing each other, he might be the one I can spend a peaceful life with. That's what I believe.